Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Um, how do I get the game volume to go down? Does anybody know? That seems to be the only thing that I can't figure out. No, not necessarily the music volume, just like the master volume of the game. Or does this sound okay? Like if I am going about the world and stuff, does this sound okay? Do I need to anything need to go up or down? If I can do that, did that work? If I am going about the world and stuff, does this sound okay? Do I need to anything need to go up or down? Oh, let's go. Holy shit, boys, come on. Centered has gone next level. We are on our way. Oh, that makes me happy. I took the advice of our friend Cranky, and I went and got myself a capture card and got all that set up, and good. Everything's working. Um, Chat box. Um, Sorry, still kind of dark for anyone else. It does look a little bit dark. I think I can fix that. I think I can fix that next time because whenever I plug this in, it asks me to adjust the brightness and stuff. But might have to roll with it for today. It looks really good in Streamlabs, but outside of that, it's kind of funky. Like in YouTube, it looks a little off. Okay. All right. Let's it looks like everything's working well. So let's just let's get on with it. Um, were you guys able to yeah, make sure you're playing. Yeah, I'll do my best there. Also chat is not displaying on this. There it is. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that. Sweet. Here we go. Yeah, so don't know if you guys were able to see the kind of the thing I put out there as far as it's a model of Jung's that kind of it displays the continuum basically between order and chaos, and then like life force, and then space-time continuum. And I thought it was really interesting the choice of words he used, um, and how we see that play out in game as far as the law of causality, aka order, the law of regression, aka disorder or chaos. And then as I started to like look around and try to get an understanding of exactly how he was displaying the space-time continuum, it seemed that that is like, for example, the movement of the stars, everything to deal with astrology and sorcery, and I kind of gleaned from a few item descriptions and um, that what Azur and Lusat saw when they glimpsed into this primeval current was they seemed to have seen the end of time, kind of this like oblivion, abyss, nothingness, and it scared the ever living shit out of them, and it kind of um, can kind of. Why is this still not displaying? That's really weird. I guess you guys are seeing it. Okay. And it seems that is the primeval current just seems to be the space-time continuum. And Radon holding that back seems that he is in America's kind of psyche, and the trait or characteristic that he seems to be portraying is that of like control, that of resistance, all that kind of stuff, because he stops the forward progress of said primeval current of the space-time continuum, because the law of entropy means that from order it'll go back into disorder, and America is projecting that sense of control and desperation and not letting go in Radon. Oh my god. Okay. Um, One thing that I thought was really interesting is that you can literally see the progression of America's psyche trying to balance itself out with the different stages of the animus. So, um, oh, I do. Yeah, I can put that on. Does that help? Can't believe it's that dark, man. Um, so you can see her from essentially the first stage of the animus, Godfrey, and the basically the Ur tree just blooming out of the crucible, aka the consciousness, um, kind of erupting out of the unconsciousness that's displayed visually over and over again in Fair Missoula the uh, with the Elden Ring, and you can see that the peak of order and all that kind of stuff, and the statue with the little girl and the three wolves, like everything about this is saying that this consciousness, this order, all this stuff is arising out of disorder. This is arising out of the unconscious, all this kind of stuff. And with that, arising out of this unconscious is the first stage of the animus, which is Godfrey. And in this first stage, we see basically a complete unbalanced version of America. Everything is about making the Erdtree as standalone and solitary as possible, and making it the one symbol for America, basically, for her rule, for her ego, for her consciousness, all this different type of stuff. And we see that also with the time of Godfrey and the statues related to that of America being the fact that they only have one braid on one side of her body. So anytime we see a one braided America, we know that it's in the first age of the Erdtree, where it was all faith, a complete unbalanced. It's interesting thoughts there. A complete unbalanced psyche, where it seems like the ego is completely taken over, and we get that from basically all of Godfrey's what he's doing in game. The Age of Godfrey is just all about having the Erdtree be the number one thing in the world. And then, so based off of that, on the continuum that I put out, she's completely on one side, right? She's completely on the side of order. And she lacks this balancing feature of her psyche. And then in the second stage, with Radagon, he at least that stage at least attempts to make the corrections within the psyche by adding basically the law of regression. And the law of regression being the fact that now it's a balancing act between faith and intelligence and order and chaos. And this is displayed beautifully throughout the game as well, because Radagon, like we just fought in the previous video, he is kind of symbolized by this red wolf, by this instinctive creature who is still very much part of the Crucible, and very much part of the unconsciousness, part of the chaos, right? And when that happens, we see that the statues of America actually change. So most of the statues that we see of her, like in churches and stuff, in our time frame, are actually, she has one full braid on one side of herself, and then she kind of has a half braid on the other side. And this is, again, so she is further along the process of individuation. She is further along the process of reintegrating her animus, all this different type of stuff. But she's not done, right? The braids aren't equal. She still has some work to do. The two braids and the statues are pictures everywhere. I think it's once I kind of get a little further here. So whether it's a picture or whether it's a statue, I don't think that it matters. I don't want to say for sure. I know for sure the statues change, and I think the pictures change as well. But the really interesting part of that is that when we actually go into the Erd Tree and interact with America, kind of the husk of her, anyways, she doesn't have those braids, right? Like she just kind of has traditional hair um, that's unbraided. So this is just a visual aspect that the producers and you know Miyazaki is using to illustrate the importance of how she's unbalanced earlier on in her life, how she's kind of working her way through that balancing process of individuation. Um, so of statues they could have been broken, but if in pictures, then for sure. Um, yeah, I think once, like I said, once I let me get through this little bit here, and then we'll go look at some statues of America because it's not like the head's not broken, right? Like um, she might be missing an arm or something like that, but um, but then so in the second stage of the Animus with Radagon, she begins to develop a little bit further, um, and the Golden Order, although on its surface is still a negative thing, it is an improvement on what she was doing pre-Radigan, right? And that's an important element of these stages is that they're not they're not different, right? Like they're improvements upon one another. So the elements that made up Godfrey is still very much in Radigan. They're not, although yes, they are two separate entities. Um, the characteristics get transferred over to the next stage. So just like when Marika moves in her development, it's not like she goes from Marika to Susan, right? Like she kind of just goes Marika to Marika 1.0, Marika 2.0, all that different kind of stuff. Um, it's like a it's like a software upgrade. You still keep that software. You're fixing the bugs, all this different type of stuff. Um, so that is I, I believe that is why Radigan has red hair, is because he's still from the Crucible. He's still from the unconsciousness. That's where the animus lives. It lives in our unconsciousness. Same thing. Freaking OP. Before I go on any further, let's read Radigan's. So, a legendary talisman depicting the Elven Lord Radagon shortens the casting time of sorceries and incantations. As the husband of Renala of Caria, the red-haired Radagon studied sorcery, and as the husband of Queen Marika, he studied incantations. Thus did the hero aspire to be complete. So that's kind of like what I was just talking about a little bit there. Is um, his, Radagon's journey separate of Marika right? Like before they meet in the Capitol, they're the actions of Radigan are the thoughts of America played out in real life. It's kind of like the animist's job, right? Like the animist is the animating life force, the the more movement based type of essence that acts out America's thoughts. So what we see Radigan doing is actually America's own thoughts and how she's developing within her own um, psyche. So Radigan doing it is actually America trying to be whole, right? America is Radigan. You by saying that you can use their names interchangeably. So to make probably better sense of the world, it might help that when there's confusing text about Radigan to try to instead say America, and if that makes sense. And I think like inside, so if we look at the wars of Liurnia as a war happening inside of America's brain, right? A war of faith and intelligence, of, kind of real world experience and blind faith, right? At this point of her life, um, she's in a stalemate between those opposing forces, as seen by the fact that there is no winner in those two battles. Um, so instead, she kind of gives in, and instead of fighting it, which is a really good um, kind of how Radon is fighting against that as well, and it's coming to a stalemate, just like what we see happen with Radon and Melania. Um, she kind of gives in and relinquishes control, um, and instead of fighting it, has it become part of her psyche, and thus two braids and all this kind of stuff is now starting to take hold. On Radigan's back, I think that they're parts of the Erd tree, but yeah, I think it's just the Erd tree. So like we've seen in other statues and stuff, when we see the Erd tree kind of wrapping around a statue or anything like that, it seems that is it's the developer's way of visually conceptualizing that this is now integrated within America's kind of consciousness. She's bringing awareness to it, all that kind of stuff. Stone key. Key of the seal binding both gates to the Academy of Ray Lucaria activates magic warp. A glintstone key will remember its user, meaning once it is used, it can never be passed on to another. The Academy does not welcome the indolent. Yeah, at first glance, it definitely looks like the mushrooms. But I think that again, that's kind of another visual key as to the mushrooms definitely seem to be representative of really the shadow of the Erd tree, um, the kind of flip side, the unconsciousness, and then the Erd tree wrapping its arms around an enveloping thing is definitely a warm embrace of consciousness. Um, Azur's Flintstone staff. Staff of the primeval glintstone sorcerer Azur. Only those who have glimpsed what lies beyond the wisdom of stone may wield it. I kind of wonder if stone is supposed to be just a metaphor for like the earth or the lands between, like what happens at the end of time for the lands between. When Radogan was in Raya Lucaria, do you believe Merrick was physically absent from the capital? No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's definitely possible, right? Like, I don't think that the way that um, America is, I think the way that we see America is how she is for like pretty much forever. Because America, right, as far as being the anima, is like the thoughts, is the more feminine characteristics. So when she's acting something out, it's through her animus. So America obviously was the one that wanted for the Erd tree to be the dominant force and dominant doctrine in the lands between. But she acted that out via Godfrey. But you should try mushroom vision. There's a spot on the forested entry ramp by interesting view towards mushroom vision. What are you talking about, dude? That sounds awesome. Towards Church of Vows, Erd tree, and Minor Erd tree. Mm. Are you talking like over in this area? Church of Vows. You're not talking about this thing, are you? Or are you? Um, and like, anyways, going back to kind of the whole primeval current and what is seen at the end of it, um, my guess is that something like what we see here, um, is once we see past stone and we glimpse into the primeval current, what we see is just kind of this nothingness, right? Like this. this empty void. Um, and everything that, we hold most dear and that we kind of like the tangible on the ramp with the merchant and wolves. On the ramp with the merchant. The finger reader? One of these ramps? Sorry. On the forested entry ramp, 2-rail Icaria with an interesting view towards. I'm assuming you're talking somewhere in here. I'm going south from elevator. What? Going south. You walk past the glowy sigil at the south. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Let me once I get to the next side of grace, I'll take agenda. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, let's take a peek here. So you're saying this way, huh? That wouldn't make any sense. Oh, inside the gate. Sorry, dude. You're probably going crazy. Turn around, you dipshit. I got you. I got you. Inside, then back south. Okay. Thank you very much. And back this way. Okay.
has been an age since I've seen a customer. How can I help here at the end of the earth?
Cowl of nomadic warrior, the blue color of its fabric symbolizes brisk waters, as fluid and flowing as the sword of wind. Just as still waters turn foul, stagnation leads to decay. Warriors must remain ever driven. A record of crafting techniques left by a man who was utterly captivated by Saint Trina. Continued the search for her in his slumber. That's a pretty cool. The fact that he's looking for Saint Trina in his slumber, like in his dreams, and the fourth stage being the intermediary between kind of your waking world and your dream world. That's really cool.
Have a safe journey.
There are two mushrooms on the ramp. The one with the nice view is at a place where there are two closely spaced pillars in the wall with a gap between them. Alright, what? Something here? God, I love this game. Oh, interesting. The same merchant that pillaged the stuff from Castle Soul Envoy. Mentioned the comment on the other day. How do we know? Unless you find the mushroom? It doesn't work unless you find the mushroom. Dude, what are you talking about, bro? You have to pick up the mushroom? This is a wild goose chase? Okay, mushroom. Okay, here's a mushroom. Do I need to go, am I right here? Or you like stand on the mushroom? I don't know, he doesn't seem like the trolley type. I could be wrong. Mearshroom, I've had some really good interactions with. There! Okay. Do I pick this up, or do I just look from here? Framing is nice. Yeah. Hello, Galad. Um, I'm standing on a mushroom, looking at the Erd tree. Yeah, I mean it's beautiful for sure, for sure. That's actually a really sweet picture. I don't think it changes. Actually, like it'd be super cool, um, because psilocybin and psychedelics is definitely like a catalyst for for ego death and spiritual enlightenment and all this kind of stuff and reawakening and blah 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 blah. It would be. Oh wait, not there. No, debate properly. Uh, it would be really cool if you could pop enough mushrooms to like change your vision or something like that. That's when you said that, uh, Mearshroom. I thought for sure. I thought like, oh fuck, this is gonna be it. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, Aristo. Yeah, guys. If you would be so kind to give this a like, I trying to up my game a little bit. Capture card and Streamlabs and you know trying to give you guys a little bit better better quality stuff here. Still got a long ways to go, but I'm still working on my next lore video, and I'm really excited about it. It's coming along really good. Um, one one thing that I've looked into since we talked about the golden seed and uh, the fact that it says an illusory tree. Um, so the ego is considered by many um, psychoanalysts to be an illusory concept. Um, it's not really real. It's something that we're like almost choosing to be real, and it's a fake image of who we are because it's not the full image. Um, and the again the connection between that and the Erd tree and all like oh Jesus and how we kind of are um, oh thanks dude. Yeah, I must have been missing some some aspect of that. These guys can summon the same Uwals that are in Noxtella. Yeah. Um, if you look at like the sigil of Celia and like the Nox, it's the base of it is like the same base as Rhea Lucaria. If I'm remembering correctly, honestly, I haven't dove into it for a while, but oh god. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Stop spamming me. Glintstone. Wait, I thought it was one of those. What? Is it someone? What the hell? Oh, is it a hat? Yeah, okay. Blue-green scarab worn directly on the head. These scarabs roll clumps of sorcery during their labors. Slightly reduces the FP cost of sorcerers. Um, Actually, I think I've talked about this before, but it's supposed to resemble the dung beetle that it rolls clumps of poop. Um, and I forget exactly. I need to look it up, but it's like in ancient Egypt times, I think they were called like the god bug because as they would roll up stuff, they would roll up like the eggs of their um, like offspring, and then from that dung would come like a new bug. And I think like I could be misremembering this, but I think the way in like I'm pretty sure it's ancient Egypt. I think the way that was it was thought as like wow how are you how does birth come from like this you know piece of crap Um, Interesting. Why would that take you to the Church of Vows? But again, it's just another theme used by the developers that show that basically from this rot, from this dung, comes rebirth, and you need this kind of negativity. Um, you really, man? That's really interesting. A wastewater facility. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I definitely think it's related to that. It's just really curious. Um, I wonder what's in the opposite direction. Hmm. Also, does anybody have a theory as to who this statue is? Like, do we think it's Ronnie? Do we think it's Rena? I wonder if there's any way that we'll ever find out. Perhaps it's America. I bet. I bet. No, she's before Nala. Yeah, the game makes it sound like Rena is um is before Nala. Yeah. I heard the mimic veil turns into that statue at the tops of the divine towers. All of them? Huh. Interesting. Hmm. Um, I'm almost under the kind of assumption that this is supposed to depict like America coming to learn sorceries. Um, Obviously, it's done via Radagon, I almost wonder if like what was happening. Does the mimic veil reference the local environment where it fuses? That's what it definitely makes it seem. Um, I almost wonder if what was happening in the academy is that just like the sculptor who sculpted Radagon, saw that him and Merrick were the same. I almost wonder if that was what was happening inside the academy, and the reason that the seals and everything, and the mask of, oh shit, I forget what it's called, but the mask that they wear where they seal their mouths so that way they can't talk about what's happening inside the academy. Yeah, yeah, and most of them also have the smithing stones with them. Hmm. Wonder. All right, fill in. Massive confidence. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yep. Um, so we've we've seemed to have come to the conclusion, right or wrong, that the catalyst or the traumatic event in America's life that made her start this inward journey was a stillbirth. And when we look at, first of all, how we know Renala is and acts in a very depressive state, and then we look at there's cribs everywhere and it's kind of shrouded in this black drapes, and she holds the rune of the unborn, and all this different type of stuff seems like, and the fact like a rod is underneath here, like this seems to be the the traumatic event brought to life, um, the thing that fragmented America and rocked her to her core. And this is kind of the aspect of her that is still kind of reeling from this traumatic event that is slowly but surely kind of being consumed by depression and in the lake of rot. Hmm. Um, and to kind of further that point, um, like we're also told that Renala pre Radagon, pre this kind of traumatic event, was a queen, a very powerful person, um, somebody who was an authoritarian figure who people looked up to, and then after this event was a completely different person, and everything kind of left her, right? Everybody kind of walked away from her, and she was no longer seen as that person. She got completely consumed by the rotting depression within her. Oh, interesting. Um, I I think that the Omen are just because that the the person that she had them with, Godfrey, is related to the Crucible, and the Crucible and Omen and the Crucible and um, Misbegotten and all those kind of misfigured things seem to go hand in hand. Inside the towers, not at the top. Hmm. Anyways, let's ugh.
Hush, little Calva. I'll soon birth thee anew, a sweeting, fresh and pure. Come, sweetest, time to be born anew.
I don't know if you guys have ever noticed or not, but the things that she attacks you with right there are gravestones.
My beloved, have no fear. I will hold thee. Patience. Ye will be countless born, forever and ever.
So I think a common misconception about this kind of scene is that it was like Ronnie is
Upon my
that great rune
knees,
or whatever. The way that I'm taking this scene is that
mother's rich
out of this
secret will
trauma
not be
and
disturbed
out
by
of
thee.
this depression and rage that Renala is in,
Trespasser,
out of that
set
comes
wide,
Ronnie,
far and
comes the
wide.
Dark Moon, comes nihilism, comes all this stuff. Um, and we see this throughout the game with a bunch of other characters as far as when tragedy strikes them, how they respond to that. Like we saw Vike, he turns to chaos. We see Bernal turn to blasphemy. We see Renala turn to nihilism. All of these different outcomes, and none of which are the quote unquote like healthy outcome, right? Like it's almost the, I don't want to say the easy way out outcome by any means. But it seems like it's kind of the low-hanging fruit, the more underdeveloped way of handling your problems, kind of.
Come, O sworn giant. Come, O sworn brother. Little Rani, my dear daughter, weave thy night into being.
Remember something full moon. Let's see here. So wait, misbegotten. I thought they were related to Radigan, not Godfrey. So remember, the various stages of the animus are just improvements upon the other one. So they come from the unconscious kind of area of our psyche, and stages 1 through 4 are just improvements upon the other ones, but still hold within them their predecessors' qualities. So anything related to like the more crucible unconscious related items seem to have a direct tie with the Elden Lord, aka the Animus. And that's just the game's way of saying that these concepts are coming from the unconsciousness. So much language about cursed, foul blood. Morgoth makes a sword of it, and Moog just straight up uses it. Yeah, that's true. Hitting us with that knowledge. I know, knowledge is power, right? Really, the Beast Torch pacifies the summons? That's really cool. Yeah, exactly. Just connecting it through the crucible, and I think the way that's portrayed, like omens seem to be perhaps pre-misbegotten. I don't know that for sure, but omens seem to be directly tied to more of like the Godfrey age. And you know, another like kind of really strong point that this is kind of America's traumatic event, right? Like it makes sense that her words to Ratigan in this moment are Leo Hound of the Golden Order, and I'm gonna botch this, but basically she says, "Come to the capital, mine other self, let us be shattered together." So it's at some point when Ratigan is still here in the academy that something happens to America to the point that she knows that she is going to fracture herself. And like this picture right here kind of, to me, says it all. This is an emotion of America's that is being brought to life through Renala. It's an archetype of the queen, of the mother, all these different things. A very feminine archetype. Yep, no worries, Taylor. I don't know, man. Just it seems.
Where did he flee, my sweetings? Come out from whence ye hide. There are books and light aplenty, dither not. Come out, say I, or will ye be gravestones, to be better born?
There you can see Ratigan's braid, and I'll go. Um, the rune of the unborn, I have a theory that the rune claimed by Mo was the one that Ronnie discarded. She cast away her imperial flesh, her blood. Ooh, that's a really cool theory. So like here, we see America, one long braid on one side, and then kind of like a quarter, half braid on the other side. I don't know if there's a picture. No, and I think most, or if not all, of the like statues of America where you can get brought back to life, um, they all seem to have one braid. When we pass another oh hey dude when we pass another statue of America, we'll take a peek. Guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it goes a long ways. It helps the algorithm out quite a bit. Trying to get millions of people in here, you know?
Have you ever felt the curse? With your whole being, the pox upon life itself, feared and despised by all. The reviled blessing. Apparently not. You are but a lamb, a stranger to defilement, ignorant of your own ignorance. You no longer interest me. I've been long without peace. Don't spoil my quietude. I asked you not to disturb me. Be thankful of the whole serenity. It is all that keeps your death and defilement at bay. Well, I took you for dead, no matter, it's all the same. Lay out your arms then.
Ah, hello. I was hoping to see you. My examination is complete. Here's the knife print back, with my thanks. Now I have a fairly good idea who performed the rite upon the blade. The person who orchestrated the Night of the Black Knives. Lunar Princess Rani. One of the children born to King Consort Radigan and his first wife, Renala. Demigod and sister to General Radahn and Praetor Rykard. Hers was the name I discovered in the imprint. Truly, you have my thanks. But if I might be so bold, I would like to ask something more of you. If Rani truly is the one who plotted that fateful night, then she should bear the curse mark of destined death somewhere upon her flesh. I would like you to procure it for me. And then all will be laid bare. I will have the answers I have sought for so long.
So this concept of ego death, right, and the dark night of the soul being the first step in this individuation process, and this kind of reawakening and redeveloping yourself in a different image with a different worldview and a more whole, complete, spiritual, enlightened person, is you know, like we talked about before, is brought on by a catalyst of some sort of traumatic event or some sort of crisis of faith or whatever that is. And it would make sense that the quote unquote child, and remember I use the word child as it's not a biological child, but it's just like the thoughts I'm having right now, the words I'm saying, my actions are all kind of my children, right? Like they're born from me. So the child of Renala being the one to set this in motion, coming out of that, being the one birthed from kind of this darkness, this nihilistic kind of depressive state, and her being the one to set this in motion makes a ton of sense.
I have some idea of Rani's potential whereabouts. There's a manor to the
And
north of the Academy of Rayalun.
to further that,
It is the familial
like
home of the Carian
the
warriors
fact that
from whom Rani descends.
the quote unquote main quest seems to be Ronnie's quest, right? The low hanging fruit, the one that's at your face, the less developed. It takes less work to do it as opposed to um, like Dung Eater's quest or something like that. Um, that seems to be the knee-jerk reaction to this process, this crisis of faith, this traumatic event, is to just walk away from it, to say fuck that. I'm done. I'm not working on it. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I'm just going to go into the state of oblivion. And although I think it seems to a lot of people like maybe the quote unquote correct ending, to me it seems like it's the ending that a less developed person would take. Because you can have, from a traumatic event, you can either turn inwards like we're seeing Marika do, or you can have this turn outwards where you just walk away from it all. And that turn outwards, walking away from it, is definitely Ronnie's ending.
I'm afraid there's something I must tell you. Do you know of those who live in death? The very notion of life in death defies the Golden Order. By Dee's account, these defiled fiends must be expunged. But truth be told, I seek the curse mark to save them. You may find this peculiar, but I discovered something in my examination of the Night of the Black Knives. These souls,
I don't think we have the correct one yet.
They have every right to life, only they happen to touch upon a
I think that's coming in the DLC. Because remember, we're just the third stage, right? Like, the third stage out of 4, she's on the third step of individuation, all this different type of stuff. She still has some work to do. She still has to confront this darkness in her, which is the shadow of the Earth Tree. And that person that is going to help her do that is going to be her 4th stage of the Animus, aka Mikola. And how they bring that to life, I'm not really sure. It could be that, we free Mikola from something and, he kind of aids us in the journey or whatever that is.
Yes, and if Dee knew what drives me now, he would surely boil over with rage. Or perhaps he would even feel some pity. But no need to fret. None of that will come to pass. I can tell a good lie when I need to.
No, the perfect order ending is almost as bad as it gets. Because basically what the perfect order ending is saying is like it's a complete rejection of anything outside of the Golden Order. It's a rejection of anything outside the Earth Tree, all this different type of shit that basically led us to where we're at now.
Oh, again we cross paths. I believe I said my name was Rena when last we met. It pleaseth me to see Torrent hale and hearty, but tarnished. What business hast thou here? I have no
like I said, I don't think there's a correct one yet. Sorry. You must be Ronnie the Witch behind the Night of the Black Knives.
I see. Quite the sleuth, aren't we? Indeed, I am the witch Rani. I stole a fragment of the Rune of Death and used it to forge the god-slaying Black Knives through fearsome rite. I did it all. But sadly for thee, the curse mark thou seekest is not to be found here. I have slain the body I was born into and cast it away. And it is upon that flesh the curse mark is carved. And why should I reveal that to thee? I performed the act not to bury the past, nor in shame of the deed, but all the same, thy begging compels me not a jot. The curse mark thou seekest is not here. That is all I will say. Now, be gone. The curse mark thou seekest is not here. That is all I will say. Now.
I'm curious to know what you guys think the betrayal of Malekith is that America did to him. I've often wondered if the betrayal is that it was America who stole the fragment of death and basically started this whole thing. Like obviously we're seeing now that there's this fracture, right? And there's this split and the individual feelings and traits of America are associated with certain characters. Like I wonder if before that, when she was still unfractured, if it was her that came and quote unquote stole the Rune of Death.
The curse mark now.
Okay. Not very helpful, are you? Percent think the betrayal is the Night of the Black Knight itself. Yeah, via America stealing it. Yeah. Okay. Let's. Oh, there was one. So in that little cutscene, there was one braided America. Lord Godfrey, at last, at the end of his campaign, his golden armies unvanquished and unbowed, yet finds grace lost, tattered and faded. It's rotting, everything rotting scarlet. The very earth that Caled rests upon, and Celia, town of sorcery, the end is nigh for us all. Here we go. So right there. Single braid. And again, we know that at least the figure that we are seeing inside the tree, the hair looks nothing like this. And like, it's not like it's broken or anything, right? Like, it's just one braid. Oh, come on. Got him. Yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure you can still get into her. I think you can. I could, like, very much be wrong. I would say, like, so far, I definitely am. But I feel like I've done this before, and you can still progress. I guess we'll just find out. Hi, also crazy. How you doing, man? I hope you caught some. I hope you caught some good stuff in there. Ow, ow, ow! Quit it, jerk! I think it's just because my regular mic's far away. Is that better? Still kind of working on my setup. So my mic is kind of far away from me. Um, sorry, let me repeat that. Does it sound better? Crazy? Second. Does that sound better? And the stream's in 4. Is it? Um, I think that might just be a setting on YouTube for some reason. Streamlabs is like 4K. No, I think it's I think when I was trying to kind of mess with getting things to work via remote play, I put all the settings down, and I just kind of forgot to for after this stream. I'll try and bring it back to see what I can do. Taylor said, so in keeping with the theory, America's champion self creates her ambition, Rykard, her might, Radon, and her rebel, as in Ronnie. I look at it a little bit differently. So when I see three things, the three things associated with the psyche are usually the ego, the self, and the shadow. So to me, out of those two, out of the second stage, what's represented by the ego. Let's take a step back. Let's go all the way back to Godfrey, because they also have three children, right? They have Godwyn, they have Moog, and they have Morgoth. Godwyn to me is the pinnacle symbol of the ego. Godwyn the golden child, all this different type of stuff. Moog is the antithesis of that, right? He literally looks like the devil. He's cast underground, and he's kind of undermining America's plan, or America's goal of individuation. And then Moog is kind of this, the self holds all of these aspects into it at the same time. So the self is kind of or the ultimate goal of individuation is to kind of reconnect with your true self. And your self holds both your conscious and unconscious, your ego and your shadow, all these different things. It holds it together and as one. So the Morgoth, representing the self, is brought to life by the fact that he was also cast down, right, because of his omen, but yet he is trying to keep the order together. He has incantations, and then at the end of his boss fight, you see that he finally unleashes kind of the more shadow side of him, aka the kind of the blood of the omen. So again, with the turning that to the second stage with Marika and Radagon, how I'm seeing it is that Rykard would be the shadow, Radon would be the ego, and Ronnie would be the self. Whether or not that's true, and that holds compared to what you're saying, is they're the three children that they seem to have represent something else. I'm not sure, but Rykard seems to fit the shadow personnel to a T. The shadow, in a psychological term, is all about knocking your ego down so it doesn't think itself a god. So Rykard wanting to literally devour the gods is almost we might as well just call him the shadow. And then Radon desperately trying to hold on to the status quo and to keep everything as it is very much the ego. And then Ronnie, being the self, she, but this is like, so Ronnie being birthed out of trauma, like you could say that in that stage, um, the path that Marika takes is, and who she is at that point in time is a very broken, nihilistic type of person, because we see what Ronnie is trying to do. Um, so I kind of I it's a difficult thing to grasp and apply it to um, these very vague characters, but I believe that that's kind of what Miyazaki is trying to get across. Um, okay, so about Marika betraying Malekith, I think Marika wanted to take her own life because hiding away the Rune of Death was clearly not working, or at least not working as intended. Yeah, that could definitely be. And it that could be what the ending of Ronnie's questline is, right? It could be just Marika ending it because she kind of disintegrates in that ending and stuff like that, and you're just kind of walking into the void. So that makes good sense. But the betrayal would still be the same, but the the reasoning behind it is slightly different. But by mistake, maybe it falls into the hands of Ronnie, and then she uses it for her own interest. So the only thing that so my guess is that the Night of the Black Knives, according to Rajier, happens long before the shattering of Elden Ring. So to me, that means that Marika is still one individual person with all of these different traits in one vessel, basically. So I think it's like what you're saying, that Ronnie represents this nihilistic kind of suicidal maybe tendency thought, and that was the emotions that was driving Marika to do it. But the visual person who Malekith would have seen would have been Marika. If that makes sense. And it's not until after the shattering of the Elden Ring that you have this kind of visual display of her characteristics and a character within the game. Okay, cool. Yeah. So anything that happened pre-shattering of the Elden Ring, the visual behind that would have been Marika as like an individual person. Anything that happens post Elden Ring shattering is the runes flying out, and those runes basically becoming individual people, or individual characters that we are able to interact with throughout the game. So Ronnie is the devil on your shoulder that instigates you to take the wrong path, but always has its own interest in mind. Yeah. And there, and I probably should have mentioned this like way earlier, but there is a psychological process called fragmentation, um, which is literally like what we see with America, where you are disassembling your psyche um, in order to rebuild it anew um, in a better way. So, in order to do that, you have to break it down and disassemble it. Yeah, yeah. So I think basically what happened in this second stage of the animus, um, and the second stage of the process of individuation, um, is that essentially what happens with Marika's psyche at that point is she is consumed by the shadow. She is underneath what psychologists would call shadow possession. Um, and basically how we see that, I mean, that we see that with in real life quite a bit. Um, people who are addicts or who have suicidal tendencies and end up acting on it, they're very much possessed by their shadow. Um, so those two coming together, colluding to essentially um, take down Malekith and make it possible for America to die, um, basically drawing back the curtains of the possibility of suicide, like Crazy was saying, um, could be what we're seeing there. I'm gonna get you. It's gonna take forever. Need a blood weapon. Man, this takes forever. Why do you think Grail is paralyzed, Rot? Um, Good question. Um, Again, when I see dragons, my brain goes to the unconsciousness, um, and this could just be another visual that the unconscious is slowly dying. Um, but I'm not really sure. I think that's kind of a weak. Um, and I think that when he dies, all the other dragons die, right? And if that's the case, then he could just be kind of the pillar of unconsciousness. Kind of, it gives you a visual state of exactly how it is in America's brain. She's kind of just completely destroyed it. Um, Radon the ego does inhibit Ronnie the self. Yeah. Um, if the ego is so isolated and powerful, that essentially it becomes godlike, and it becomes detached from the self. Um, as I've kind of talked about with how America is uh, with uh, Melina, pre us, um, the ego will resist every single thing that comes its way. Oh, you think Grail? Yeah, that could definitely. Let me turn this back on for you guys. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Oh, I didn't know you guys would follow me down here. Um, Crazy. I wonder if we'll get a better idea about the dragons when I read the Dragon Burrow map. It might give us a little bit better idea that it's interesting that the dragons and rot are in the same spot. Oh, you bitch. Oh, you bitch. I think Rod plays the role of kind of you know, everything has to die before it can be reborn. The dragons that escaped the Scarlet Rot made a nest up the plateau to Caelin's north. Thus was the name. Okay, so they escaped the rot, and none did retain. Okay. So then it would seem that Greol did not, if they escaped the rot, then they weren't, that's not how he got the way he got, or she got the way she got. Alright. Radagon's Source Seal. This legendary talisman is an eye engraved with an elven rune. Said to be the seal of the king consort Radagon. Greatly raises vigor, endurance, strength, and dexterity, but also increases damage taken by a similar measure. Solemn duty weighs upon the one beholder, not unlike a gnawing curse from which there is no deliverance. I've said in my first lore video that, you know, the fact that his Source Seal and Scar Seal definitely is a very masculine. Oh, maybe I should just go up there. Should I do Dectus or should I go? I guess I should go that way. It raises the very masculine qualities within the player character. What I've thought till now is that dragons were here since before only, but after is that Millennia? Oh, before, yeah, but after Millennia Bloom, they got rot, but some escaped, some couldn't. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely could be. Holy, I got a lot of runes. Jeez. What is going on? I'll try and fix the brightness in the next stream, guys. Sorry about that. I think it's just a setting I need to make on my capture card is all, or it's like hooked up to my screen. It's like Godric's rune raises masculine attributes, but here they mention the attributes. For Godric's rune, it says all attributes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's probably no coincidence that his Godric's Great Rune initially came from Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, so having them kind of raise the same attributes makes sense. Let's see. An eye engraved with the oak. If you're up for 5 small dragonflies, honestly, 5 something. Yeah. Brandishing the medallion with both halves conjoined will activate the Grand Lynx deck, disconnecting the Altus Plateau to land. That's so. One is in Fort Roth, in the Dragon Barrow. One is in Fort Hate. I wonder what Roth. Does that mean anything? Fort Roth. Whoa. Oh, that's right. I forgot that those little dragons actually do take a chunk of health. Swing and a miss. Barbaric roar. I wonder if Roth doesn't mean anything. God, I love this weapon. Oh boy. Ow. Yeah, I usually don't use bigger weapons like this, but it's pretty fucking sweet. Oh, that me. Holy, some intense rocks. So, do we think that this is the same person that's in the statues around Liurnia? Oh shit. Um, top that skull next to the spirit spring. Did I miss it? Sevens and 1 8. Um, where are they at, Taylor? Did I miss it? Mm. I wonder if like we will have quote unquote offspring with our union with America. That kind of represents, you know, the joined ego, shadow, and self. That's um like Fee and Godwin. Yeah, that'd be one hell of a hug. Like it seems that every time that there's a new Elden Lord, or even kind of a major event that happens in America's life, she has the result of that is um, her offspring. So I kind of wonder if maybe in the DLC, like we'll see the results of our union um, in the form of children. Because essentially what we're doing in the base game is we are going through the different developmental stages of America, um, and we're we're re we're seeing what those different stages, how they evolve over time, right? And how they affect America and the lands between. Um, but like we know, there's four stages. We're the third stage, so I wonder if in the DLC we are doing the same process, but for the previous stage, the one that we're playing now, and we are going and reassimilating the shadow, the um, self, and the ego one more time before we get to uh, Mikola. In our case, I don't know if she's in condition to be able to bear child anymore. Yeah, remember, it's again, it's not they're not biological children. They're just they're psychic kind of children. Um, don't say that. Don't say that, Aristo. That's, ugh, man, what a bummer. Pretty away from volcano. Serpent gods, curved sword. Curved sword fashioned the image of an ancient serpent deity and tool of a forgotten religion practiced on Mount Yelm. Formerly used to offer up sacrifices, sword restores HP upon slaying. Yeah. I mean, this whole area is just kind of a that's a very hodgepodge culmination of stuff. Like very much from the unconsciousness. Like it's very much like the back way in. Um, could be. I think you find them. I think you find those scorpions kind of everywhere. Yeah, like one was in the Dragon Burrow. Like um, I think the fact that we first interact with them in the Weeping Peninsula is significant. Um, but I think out here it might just be that it's an interesting character that they just reuse. It seems like this is like this way in and up to Altus Plateau is like the hidden occult way, um, and it's very much inhabited by the various creatures of the unconscious. Um, yo, passing thought. I wonder if the bats are a play on the phrase "blind as a bat," but the hearing is very good for echolocation. That's why they're associated with singing and shrieking. Yeah, That would make sense to me. Get Dark Souls 2 vibes in here. Oh, ow. Go. Oh, I did. No worries, dude. Oh, he's not dead? Oh, shit. Um, yeah, I did. I like him. I like his look. Badass. It's possible. Curved greatsword, wielded by magma worms. The shape resembles a dragon's jaw and is covered in hard scales. So these land-bound dragons were once human heroes who partook in the transgression for which they were cursed to crawl the earth upon their bellies. Hmm. I don't think that they necessarily need to be right next to a dragon communion. I mean, if the story is that they're humans that turn into these beasts after you know communing too much, I mean they can kind of get around still, I guess. I think they're no. I think we can only consume them in the churches. And that, again, a very interesting choice of words that these heroes that essentially dove too deep into the unconsciousness, right? Into the realm of the dragons, into the realm of this mystery and mysticism, became shadows of their former selves. Um, you, it starts to become the choice of words become more and more apparent. Yeah, Risto, let us know what happens. All right, let's go fight Radon. Oh, that's cool. I mean, technically speaking, they all move, right? But I mean, is there even stars up there? I don't even see stars. still be able to see him? Okay. That's right, Risto. Come on, people. God, I love this. I'll come back to and like finish Khaled and stuff. Should we try and solo Radon? I think that we could probably do it. Uh-huh. I figure. Changing stars. Yeah, we'll do. Okay. I'll check for the stars and stuff up here, see if we can see anything. Nothing. You know, one really interesting aspect that I think that gets overlooked about Radon, and a lot of people complain about, is that they wish they would have fought Radon at his, like peak, right? When he was the baddest dude in the land. And now it's more of like this kind of trivial, you can still solo it and like make it difficult, but the fact that it's meant to be played as a cooperative thing, and it seems like it's this collective um, outcry and this collective duty to take down Radon and to set things back in motion. And I think that is the point. That's the story that Miyazaki is trying to tell. Is that it's the collective unconscious. All of these different kind of downtrodden um, outcasts coming together to take down the ego. Um, and I think that's the story that is meant to be told here. Um, and unless you are looking at it from this kind of vantage point, I think it becomes one of like FromSoft seems to always kind of have one of those bosses where it's like, you know, the bed of chaos, and it's more like a puzzle than anything else. But this one seems more like, I mean, it's a festival, and there's Jaren up there, and it's a collective thing that people that we're trying to do. So yeah,
Long time. Seems we're fated to keep crossing paths. Now, We find ourselves at a festival of combat, pitted against Radahn, once the strongest of the demigods. The way ahead is pleasingly simple. A path forged by sword and fang.
A path forged by sword and fang. Rarely seen specimen of a beast fang, materially used. These multiple overlapping fangs grow on a single root. Perhaps they're a vestige of the primordial crucible. Again, an interesting. Kind of like what we were saying. Crucible is very much where all things were united. That's how the unconsciousness is often described as where it's a place where all things are united. All things are kind of there's no fractures or divisions. So him saying that it's it's again it's the unconscious versus the consciousness that we see play out over and over and over again in this game. He could. He definitely could mean that.
I could face a great champion of the shattering, a demigod in the flesh. Oh, gosh. In truth, I quiver at the thought. Such is his frightful repute. But the fear simply assures me the ordeal is worth undertaking. Be sure to get a good vantage, my friend. I, Iron Fist Alexander, do hereby vow to unflinchingly brave this ordeal.
Are you good and prepared, young chum? The festival begins. Before we begin, allow me to paint you the full picture. General Radahn is cursed ever to wander. Eaten from the inside by Melania's scarlet rot, his wits are long gone. Now he gathers the corpses of former friends and foes alike, gorging on them like a dog. Howling at the sky. But now, we must make
very beast-like.
Oh, gathering of champions! The revels begin! The celebration of war! The Radahn Festival! You will find the field of battle past the church ahead, upon the shore under the fort. General Radahn is there, even now, divested of his wits, devouring corpses, and howling at the sky.
I think again, the whole howling at the sky, a fight with blood or with sword and fang, all kind of pointing to the beast, right? Like the beastly side of what he has divested into. Yes, I don't see the maiden. I don't think she is. I'll have to, when we get down to Solvis's little area, I'll have to go and check. This is gonna be hard because I can't hear anything. So my next upgrade is got to be some headphones. I did not realize that you couldn't hear. Oh, I should have got that. Good start. That's gonna see it. Wow. That was not good. God, look at him. That doesn't count. Doesn't count. Hold up. Yeah. Oh, what the? What the? Wow. I'm soloing this guy. I'm doing it. I'm doing it without being able to hear him. Towards him. Closer. That was closer. Man, he's a beast. It's cool that you can see the Forge of the Giants up there. Bullshit. What are you supposed to do about that? Fuck me. Jeez. Wait. That was not good. Ugh. Um. Hmm. He is a ganker. Gankiest mother effer I've ever met. I wonder why the is there any way to dodge that? Oh. I wonder why the atmosphere kind of changes so much when you actually get in here. Oh. Oh God. Not good timing. Oh, God, that was terrible. Oh. That's pretty cool. I wonder, but like, I wonder why you don't see it here. I guess we are going a little bit further away. Great start. I haven't even gotten to his phase 2 yet. God, what a joke. Good night, dude. Oh, what? Man. I used to be good at this game. Used to. Man, I walked right into that. Hmm. Wow. Man, very out of rhythm right now. Wow. Oh, man. Hey, appreciate it, man. Take care, Taylor. Thanks for hopping on, dude. Whoa! Shit! How cheap is that? Sniping. Come on. Don't do me like this, Radon. Come on. It's early. Wow. Dude, I'm getting worse. Oh, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I just keep getting caught. I'm out of rhythm, really, really bad right now. Oh boy. Not good. Not good. Damn. Do we spawn at night? What's the day dial? Alright, I'll check. Let me check. It does say late night. Pocket there for a while, that last fight, but just one mistake and you're done. What? I mean, what are you supposed to do about that? Oh, wow. Alright, I'm gonna back out of this for a little bit. Just realized I forgot to read the Amber Egg clutched by Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. Perfects those who have been born anew. Children born anew by Renala are all frail and short-lived, imperfect beings, each and all. Remembrance of Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, hewn to the Erd Tree. The power of its namesake can be unlocked by the Finger Reader, blah, blah, blah. In her youth, Renala was a prominent champion who charmed the Academy with her lunar magic, becoming its master. She also led the Glintstone Knights and established the House of Caria as royalty. Maybe summoning patches. Let's see what she says.
I had my doubts, but my, look at you. Only once before have I seen two great runes together. Look there. The fingers shudder with exuberance. Fine work, brave Tarnished. The greater will is pleased. You have earned the right to become Elden Lord. Now, seek the Erd Tree and an audience with Queen Marika to become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. The fingers expect as much from you as they do young Gideon. Take this, a token of farewell. Now, go forth, become Elden Lord. You have returned. What is it?
Renala, head of both the Academy of Lucaria and the Carian royal family, lost her husband Radagon. Her heart went along with him. And then those at the Academy realized that Renala was no champion after all. Magic Scepter of Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. The glintstone is known as the Carian Blue, enhancing full moon visions. Only those with the highest intelligence. Renala's full moon. Use caster as a vessel to incarnate a full moon, then sends it floating towards foes. The full moon dispels all sorcery that touches it, and temporarily reduces magic negation. Queen Renala encountered this enchanting moon when she was young, and later it would bewitch the Academy.
Queen Marika is the vessel of the god, but after the Elden Rings, a grim punishment for shattering the Order. Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the Vision's vessel. Confer great runes to become Elden Lord and join Queen Marika as her consort. The fingers have willed it so. Now you may go. Now go the door.
Small weathered bag, knitted by hand, bestowed upon the ruling lord, or those attempting to become lord, by the elderly finger reader. As the voice of two fingers, finger readers are said to live lives eternal. One is even supposed to have served as a wet nurse to royalty. That's right, Russell. He's just sitting on his ass reading books, doing nothing. Just judging people.
Well, I see you found
I
the
have.
right room. Wonderful. You are a worthy fellow tarnished indeed. Make the journey to the capital, Leyndell, that lies to the east of the Altus Plateau, at the foot of the Erd Tree. The two fingers will deny your passage no longer. You may be our best hope. Find your way to the Elden Ring, for we are tarnished, and we must answer the call of grace.
Well, I took you for no matter. Lay out your arm.
All right, guys. I think I'm gonna end it here. That's one. That's the one close to Godwin underground, right? Wet nurse. What makes you say that, Aristo? I know, but it's been 3.5 hours. I know, I know. Um, yeah, man, of course. Always happy to do it. I was just kind of looking over here, but like this is definitely supposed to like um indicate the crucible, right? Yeah, I guess that's very true. Yeah, she seems profoundly heartbroken by Godwin as well. It's the like nail driving down thing is what I consider to be the great rune of Melina, um, of the self, the thing that kind of holds everything together and is the culmination of all the aspects. So I've never really noticed that in this before. It's kind of like it's the only discernible thing really in there is the self. His nails are crooked. He's awfully shaky for a blacksmith. Hmm. Let me check. You guys know Andre of Astora. You're right. Whoops. Hmm. God bless it. Yeah, and this one, interesting. So this one, although it's the same top, and you can see the beginnings of the nail kind of coming down, it's the um, it's like the Academy sigil. Hmm. Very interesting. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Yeah, it's omnipresent. Yeah. Yep. All the different cycles and stages and everything that the psyche kind of goes through, right? Like the interesting thing here though is that the self is missing. And it's illustrated to be, very lopsided, very one-sided. Thanks as always, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on and for all the likes and comments and stuff like that. I probably won't be on tomorrow, actually, but definitely Saturday and Sunday, and then be working on that lore video here for the next week or two, and then hopefully get that out and see what it does. But as always, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys